To the holy Swamins and to every one of you, let me offer my pranams. Yoga Darshana of Patanjali, second quarter, 10th, 11th and 12th aphorisms. Te pratiprasavaheyaha sukshmaha dhyanaheyaha tadvrattayaha kleshamulaha tadvikarmashayaha drishta drishta janma vedaniyaha. How to remove the kleshas from the mind, how to cleanse the mind. That is the question. And in these two aphorisms we find the answer. Kleshas are obstacles. For a sadhaka to reach the super-conscious state, to have the realization of his self and to have the realization of the eternal reality. These kleshas, as you know already, are 5. Foremost among them is avidya. The knowledge which is erroneous. Misunderstanding is the cause of all the suffering in life. How to remove this avidya? How to remove asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesh? Patanjali says, not difficult. There is a method, and a very effective method. Use it and you will be free from kleshas. Kleshas have two forms. The potential form and the active form are very fine form and manifest grass form. Fine form means in a seed for example, there is life. But it is latent in it. It is a very fine state of the life. Means seed is very small. In it there is an ability to produce a tree. That ability is called life force. It is hidden in a seed. It is there in a fine state, in a fine form, very subtle form. When it comes out, means when the tree comes out, it is its grass form. Means the tree is visible, tangible. Therefore it is called grass form of the same life force which was latent in that seed. Similarly, kleshas have two forms, very fine, very subtle form. And the second one is grass form. The kleshas manifest themselves in different grass forms. For example, a raga is there. In subtle form, it is simply a kind of attachment. Sukhanushayi ragaha. If there is a pleasure, this raga is present. It arises in the mind, means it begins to act. If I find a thing pleasant, then this raga becomes active. That does not mean it was not there before I see the flower. I see that object. It is there, but it is not active. When I see or find an object very pleasant, then this raga comes out. It becomes active. Basaveshwara gives an example. Very beautiful example it is. He says, there is fire. In wood there is fire. But it has to come out. Before it comes out, it is in its very subtle form. But when two sticks are rubbed, get into friction, friction happens, then the fire comes out. Rub the two sticks and the fire comes out. Fire was there, but later it came out. It came into vision, means we can see it now. But before that, though there is fire, we cannot see it. That is the fine form of fire, and this is the gross form of fire. Kanneya snehadante, Basaveshwara says. Udakadolage bayachitta bayakeya kichinante. Naneyolagana parimaladante. Kanneya snehadante. Some examples he gives, very beautiful metaphor, similes. He says, Sachi naneyolagana parimaladante, a small bud is there. In that bud there is a fragrance. But now if you open it, you don't get it. It is a hidden, it is a latent, inherent. In a dormant state, it lies there. But if the bud blooms into a full flower, the hidden fragrance comes out. The fine form of the fragrance and the gross form of the fragrance, they are one and the same, but only forms differ. Forms differ. Unseen and seen. Inactive, now active. The same way, within us there is love. But it is always not active. When you are asleep, it is not active. When you were a child, it was not active. Later it came to be manifested. That is the gross form. Thus avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha, these kleshas may be in fine form or may be in gross form. Both these forms are to be removed from the mind. Both these. If the gross forms are removed, it is not enough, because seed form is there. In the form of a seed, the kleshas remain in the mind. They again manifest themselves. Therefore, both the forms are to be removed. How is the problem? He says, there are two methods. The first is prasava heyaha, pratiprasava heyaha. Te pratiprasava heyaha sukshmaha. And dhyana heyaha tadvrattayaha. Tadvratti means the modifications of the kleshas. Fine kleshas. Their modifications, their manifestations, they are called vrattis, klesha vratti. Avidya, avidya vratti. Asmita, asmita vratti. Asmita, asmita vratti. Raga, dvesha, abhinivesha, abhinivesha vratti. Means unseen form and seen form. If the seen form, visible form is removed, it is not enough. Because as long as the invisible kleshas are there in our mind, so long there is the possibility of the forms coming out again. The kleshas manifesting themselves again and again. Therefore, both the forms are to be removed from the mind. Means root and branch. Root and branch. Remove root and branch. Then what is to be done? He says, the first thing is dhyana. Dhyana heyaha. The gross forms are to be removed. Gross. How to remove the gross forms? Means I get angry, I get jealous, I get jealous, and there arise in me the greed and hatredness. These are the gross forms: kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsara. And so many desires arise in the mind. And all these taken together are called the gross forms of the kleshas. First, these are to be removed. How? Meditate, he says. Meditate not on these things, not on anything else, but meditate on the divine. Just meditate on the universe, on the divine principle. On the divine principle. What is the divine principle? Just infinity. Just infinity. All the limitations removed. There is the infinity, that is called infinity. Remove the limitations, and there remains illimitable reality. Concentrate on it. Think of it. Not to think of the things. This is a flower. I may think of it. That also is a dhyana. But if I keep thinking about it, the klesha grows. What a klesha? The raga klesha grows. Attachment becomes strong. Attachment to this flower becomes stronger and stronger. But if I concentrate on just the fragrance, not the flower. If there is a flower, I want to possess it. If there is a fragrance, there is no question of possessing. No question of possessing. And if I keep that fragrance in my mind, then I own the fragrance, I can enjoy it at any time, and there will be no conflict. I need not fight for the object to be owned by me. There is no question of it. Now, the concentration is to be done on the invisible reality, the illimitable reality. That which is invisible, that alone can be illimitable. Illimitability and invisibility go together. That which has no limitations cannot be visible, isn't it? The thing, if it has no boundaries, how can you see it? Remove the boundaries, the reality, it is the reality. Remove the boundaries, drop the limitations, drop the ends, there is the infinity. For example, in mathematics, take any number, natural. Take any natural number. It is finite. Take any number, it is finite. Odd or even. 10 is even, 11 is odd. But both of them are finite. Take any number, however big it may be, it is finite. You can write it. You can count it. Suppose we take infinity, means no finite number, infinite, not finite number, infinite number. What happens? You cannot count. You cannot count. You can't say it is even or odd. You cannot. You cannot make it increased, or you cannot make it decreased. Increase is impossible, decrease is impossible. And counting is impossible. And determining whether it is odd or even also is impossible. This is infinity. That infinity, concentrate on that infinity, then your mind becomes calm. Calm. It doesn't count. Suppose if you have 10 rupees or 1 million rupees, then mind begins to count it. He is a millionaire. And compared with him, he is poorer. He is poor because he has 2 million rupees. This is how mind acts. mind begins to work. It compares, it counts, it measures, then it suffers. That is what is happening. When you compare, you find one of the two things, bigger or smaller. Then that creates a kind of a tension in the mind. That is the root cause of suffering. This is how mind works. Therefore, concentrate or fix the mind or put the mind on the divine principle, on the divine, not a human, not a man or woman, not a god or goddesses, simply the divine principle. Simply the divine. Means infinite. Infinite. What happens? Mind does not count, doesn't compare, does not measure. Then if it is not possible for it to do anything, then it becomes calm. It becomes calm. This is meditation. Very simple, beautiful, yogic meditation. It becomes calm. Just to think of it. There is a triangle. We say it is a triangle. There is a circle. We say it is a circle. Then there is a square. These are different forms. Why these are different? Because of the lines. If there are 3 lines, it is triangle. If there are 4 lines, it is a square or rectangular. If there is only completely curved line, then it is circle. Suppose I remove the lines, I drop the lines. What happens? Mind cannot say it is a triangle, or it is a square, or it is circle. It does not define the figures. It does not describe the figures. It becomes unable to describe. Therefore it becomes calm. It becomes calm. This is meditation. Simple meditation, natural meditation. Very natural meditation. And when these things are removed, it is called divine, the divine. It is simply called the divine, Ishvara. This is the first thing. Now, with the practice of meditation, dhyana heyaha, tadvrattayaha, what happens? Our lust, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, and matsara, the jealousy, all these emotions become weak, ineffective. They become weak and ineffective. They are there, but they become weak. Not to produce results, bad results. This is the first method of controlling the gross forms of the kleshas. Now we go over to the next one. The next one. The subtle form of kleshas. How to control them. He says, Pratiprasava heyaha. Pratiprasava heyaha. What is this pratiprasava? A beautiful word he has coined, and it is very meaningful. Pratiprasava. Prasava means emerging, coming out. Pratiprasava means going back and merging into it. A drop comes out of the ocean, this is a prasava. And if it goes back and merge into the ocean, it is a pratiprasava. Pratiprasava. Mind is to be made made to merge into its cause. That is pratiprasava. Mind comes out of something, that is the cause, first cause, let me call. The first cause is there, something is there, out of which the mind comes. This is a prasava. And later this mind goes back and becomes one with that cause, first cause. That is a pratiprasava. Coming out and going back and being merged into it. Mind is to be merged, and that removes the kleshas in their fine forms. What is the way of making the mind merge into its cause? Causal relation, you know. Causal relation means every event is related to every other event causally. Suppose there are two things, A and B. A is there, and A makes or causes the B to happen. If A makes B to happen, then A is the cause of B. A is the cause of B. Means in the absence of A, there can be no B. B is there, means there must be A. A and B are related causally. They are causally related, means A is the cause and B is the effect. And effect comes out of the cause. Effect comes out of the cause. Similarly, mind is the effect. And there is a something behind it. And it is not created, but it is always there. That is the Prakriti. He calls it Prakriti. Prakriti or Pradhana or Prakriti he calls it. Prakriti means primordial cause of the world. The first cause of the world, the source, the greatest infinite source of the entire universe is called Prakriti. And from that Prakriti comes the mind into existence. Means a mind is an effect and Prakriti is the cause. Mind is the effect, Prakriti is the cause. The effect and cause, they are related. Means effect depends upon the cause. But the cause does not depend upon the effect. Effect depends upon the cause. Cause doesn't depend upon the effect. Because the cause is always there and effect comes later into existence. It comes into existence later. This mind has its origin in Prakriti. Now he says, let the mind get into that Prakriti, Pratiprasava. Let the mind get into that Prakriti. And what happens? Mind becomes non-mind. Amanaska. This is Amanaska Yoga. No mind yoga. The first is Dhyana Yoga. Now he speaks about the Amanaska Yoga. Means no mind yoga. Mind is in such a state that almost it is not. We say almost it is not. The mind becomes non-mind. If a mind becomes a non-mind, all the kleshas are destroyed. Means kleshas become completely enfeebled. Means completely enfeebled, they are unable to produce any results. That is the result of meditating and becoming one with the origin of the mind. Mind is to get into that Prakriti. Dhyana heyaha tadvrattayaha te pratiprasava heyaha sukshmaha. This is called pratiprasava. Pratiprasava. What does it mean? In simple words, mind is to become calm. No movement in the mind. Mind without waves. Mind without movement. Mind without any modifications is called the no mind yoga. No thoughts, no feelings, no desires. Mind is completely calm. This state is to be practiced, he says. And if this state is perfected, then we will be freed from the fine kleshas. If the mind is concentrating upon the divine, then we are freed from the kleshas in gross form. Means both the fine and gross forms are removed from the mind by the practice of yoga. And this yoga is two-fangled, two branches it has got, twofold yoga. The first is dhyana, the second one is pratiprasava yoga. Dhyana yoga and pratiprasava yoga. These are the two yogas. Very simple and beautiful yoga it is. Pratiprasava yoga. Pratiprasava, how does it help us? That we shall see. An actor is there. Suppose there is an actor. He plays different parts. He acts the part of a king or a servant, isn't it? He acts the part of a man or a woman. So many parts he plays. And he speaks differently. He thinks differently. He says things differently because the characters, dramatic characters are different. Their language is different. Their way of behaving is different. Their way of thinking is different. Their words are different. Everything is different. Therefore, actor has to act differently. On the stage, he is a king. On the stage, he is a servant. But all the while, he knows that he is an actor. All the while, he knows that he is an actor. Therefore, the king's word, whatever happens to king, whatever may happen to king, it does not affect him. King dies, but not the actor. King weeps. This person itself is weeping, but he doesn't weep. He weeps, but he doesn't weep. As a king, he weeps, but he knows that he is not a king. Therefore, he does not weep. At the same time, he weeps, but he doesn't weep. Because he knows that he is not the king. He is not the dramatic character is different. I am different. I am only an actor. and not the character, dramatic character. See, just to see how beautiful it is. He speaks like the king, but he knows that he is a different, it is not his language, isn't it? While he is acting like a king, he is not a king. He knows that he is not a king. Therefore, whatever may happen to the king, he may be sitting on a chair, on the throne, or he may be in jail, but he doesn't worry about it. He may be defeated, or he may be a conqueror of the whole world. He doesn't worry about it. He is free from all worries. And he is not even in the least affected by what happens to these characters. That is the wonder of it. Therefore, actor is the actor. He knows that I am an actor and not the character. In the same way, when my mind becomes a non-mind, means the mind is not moving now, mind is completely still, silent. In that perfect silence of the mind, I come to know that I am the self. Not a man. I am not a man. I am not a woman. I am the self. Therefore, whatever happens to my body doesn't affect me. Whatever happens to my personality, social personality, I don't worry about it. I need not worry about it because I know that I am the self, the actor, and not the character. I am not a person. I am just the spiritual being. I am a spiritual substance. I am an entity, conscious entity, a principle, and not just this body or the mind or the intelligence. Therefore, the activities that are taking place in the physical and mental bodies are not going to affect me, even in the least. They will affect me because I know that I am the actor. While the actor is acting the parts, that very moment he knows that he is not the actor, he is not the character. The same way, I may be working in fields, I may be teaching, I may be working in office or in kitchen, but I must always know that I am not these things. I am different from all these characters. I am just acting. I am quite different from them. This is the realization. Once we get this realization, then our life doesn't change, but our way of looking at our life changes. We do the same things, but we are not affected by what we do. After the realization, you need not expect that he walks differently, he talks differently, he behaves differently. This doesn't happen. He does the same thing. If he is a farmer, he is a farmer still. If he is a potter, he is a potter, he makes pots. But now he is free. Internally, he knows that he is not a potter, he is not a farmer, He is acting as a farmer, he is acting as a potter, but he is different. He in himself is different. This is the realization. And once we got this realization, non-mind state, if we reach, then what happens? We become freed. We live joyfully in this world. Pain and pleasures of the body, of the mind, they don't affect me much. Body may be weeping, mind may be worrying, but I know that I am not the mind, I am not the body. Therefore, I am not weeping, I am not worrying about anything. This is the salvation, liberation, freedom. This is a spiritual freedom. This freedom is possible only if our mind does two yogic practices. The first is meditation on the divine, means illimitable reality. And the second one is mind is to be made non-mind. Merging the mind into its cause means making the mind perfectly, completely, wholly silent. In that silence, I come to know that I am I. I am I. And once I know it, then there is no question, no problem. Once I know it, then I am not going to be affected by these things. It will be there always. I am not the body. I am not the mind. This is yogic attainment of a non-mind state. Once we attain it, there will be no kleshas, active kleshas, or there will be no effective kleshas. Kleshas become ineffective. They are there, but not effective, much effective. They work, but they are not influencing me much. This is the state of a yogic attainment. Very beautiful state it is. Now we go to the next aphorism, simple aphorism. Klesha mulaha karma ashayaha drishta adrishta janma vedaniyaha. Klesha mulaha karma ashayaha drishta adrishta janma vedaniyaha. Now he speaks about the active life. Now we have to live in this world. And what happens when we experience the things? How the experiences are controlled? Why sometimes we feel happy, why we sometimes do not feel happy? These questions he is going to answer in the next aphorism. This is the aphorism that we shall see tomorrow. Namaskar.